Thank you for choosing a Napoleon Pellet Burning Appliance. In this video, we'll familiarize you with its operation, as well as some maintenance and troubleshooting tips. A renewable energy source, environmentally friendly, economical, convenient. These are just some of the reasons your pellet stove or insert is the perfect solution to help heat your home. With a full 8,000 to 43,000 BTU per hour range, you can easily warm up almost any area. To increase or decrease the heat output, simply press the heat up or down buttons on the control panel to find your comfort level. The variable speed convection blower enables you to control just how much heated air you want distributed into the room. The heat exchange tubes heat the room air as it is drawn through the system by the convection blower, and then distributes it back into the room for maximum efficiency. The strategically positioned cast iron burn pot provides the optimum conditions for the mixing of air and fuel through its engineered air induction ports, creating full, active, yellow dancing flames. The 55-pound pellet hopper capacity on the stove model and a 45-pound capacity on the insert will provide you with many hours of worry-free operation. An optional hopper extension for the pellet stove can increase its capacity to 100 pounds, giving you up to 100 hours of continuous use before refueling. With doors and decorative trivets available in the optional black paint, 24-karat gold or satin chrome-plated finishes, you can easily customize your stove or insert to suit your personal tastes. An optional phaser ceramic log or refractory brick panel set can help provide the finishing touch to an authentic wood-burning look. Chapter 1. Operation. Your pellet burning appliance is designed to burn premium-grade hard or softwood pellets only. The performance of your appliance is directly related to the quality and moisture content of the pellets. Store pellets in a cool, dry area in a sealed, non-combustible container to prevent moisture absorption. Always avoid storing the pellets directly on concrete. To load the pellets, lift the hopper lid into the secured position. To avoid melting the plastic bag onto the hot surface of the pellet appliance, transfer the pellets into a non-combustible container. Then, carefully pour the pellets into the hopper. Keep in mind that for your safety, the auger stops when the lid is opened. If the lid is kept open for prolonged periods of time, the fire may extinguish. Try to prevent the fine dust from going into the hopper. Here's a tip. Hold a vacuum hose near the hopper or container whenever pouring the pellets to prevent any dust from going into the room. Before starting the appliance, confirm the burn pot is properly located and both the main door and ash drawer are secured and closed. Press and release the control door located on the right side of the stove or insert. If this is the first time the appliance is started, or if it has previously run out of pellets, the auger will need to be purged. Press the on-off button. The green power button will flash, indicating that the startup cycle has begun. The red heat light will come on at setting number 1. To purge the auger, press and hold the auger feed button. This feeds pellets quickly into the empty pot to help ensure proper startup. Select the operating mode by sliding the mode switch on the control panel to the desired position. Sliding the switch to manual allows you to run the unit continuously at a heat setting that you specify. In this mode, the appliance will run until it is manually shut off or it runs out of pellets. Sliding the switch to thermostat mode will automatically cycle the heat level between the lowest and highest settings to meet the requirements of the thermostat. Sliding the switch to auto mode will operate like thermostat mode, except that if the thermostat does not call for heat within a 60-minute span, the appliance will turn off. When the thermostat calls for heat again, it will automatically initiate a startup cycle. When adjusting the heat or fan outputs, each press of the up or down arrow will raise or lower the setting by 1 level. The current level will be shown as a red light on the top left of the control panel. Setting 1, the lowest, is at the bottom, and setting 5, the highest, is at the top. During startup, these buttons will not respond as the unit follows a pre-programmed startup sequence. Sometimes, the combustion fan rate and auger feed rate may need adjustment to better suit your home. This is called trimming and allows you to adjust these settings 2 levels higher or lower than the factory settings to improve combustion. To trim your auger feed rate, press and hold the auger feed button. Then simultaneously depress the up or down arrow to increase or decrease the setting. The same process is utilized for the combustion fan. Pressing and holding the auger feed, then the fan up or down arrow will result in a one-level change. To turn the appliance off, simply press the On/Off button. Chapter 2. Maintenance. Before conducting any maintenance on the appliance, be sure that you unplug its power cord and that you allow the stove or insert to completely cool. The extra large capacity ash pan on the NPS 45 pellet stove means you can run the stove longer before having to clean out the ashes. Remember to pour the ashes into a non-combustible container and store in a safe location until they're completely cool. The NPI 45 insert has no ash pan, so the firebox must be vacuumed out regularly. If the glass is not kept clean, permanent discoloration and/or blemishes may result. Clean the glass door using a non-ammonia-based glass cleaner sold by your local dealer. Wipe off any fingerprints or other marks on the plated surfaces. To prevent permanent marks on the surface, use a non-abrasive cleaning solvent appropriate to the finish of the plated part on the appliance as recommended by your dealer. The frequency of the following schedule may vary depending on how often the stove is used. Clean the heat exchange tubes every day to maximize the amount of heat transferred into your room. With the heater cool or wearing heat-resistant gloves, slide the heat exchange cleaner rod in and out several times to remove any buildup of ash. Open both of the side panels, then release the two latches on the right side of the door and disengage the hooks from the door frame. It is important to keep the firebox clean of any ash buildup. With the heater cool, open the door and brush away any loose ash on the burn pot. Remove the burn pot, followed by the right and left louvers. Use a brush or vacuum to clean the ash. Make certain that all openings are clear of any ash buildup. Remove any ash on the ledge below the burn pot. Vacuum or brush out the firebox, air housing, and the opening at the top of the exhaust manifold. Once this is completed, replace the louvers and burn pot, making certain the locating notch lines up with the igniter. Also, remember to check and clean out the ash pan as required. To prevent dust and pellet debris from collecting in the hopper, run the appliance until the pellets in the hopper have all been consumed. Once the appliance has cooled, vacuum out the hopper. Until you're familiar with how your appliance is performing, we recommend inspecting and cleaning the exhaust system at regular intervals. Remove the 6 nuts securing the exhaust blower and remove the motor. Discard the existing blower gasket and disconnect the 2 wires from the motor. Clean off the impeller blades using a soft brush and vacuum out the blower housing. Install a new blower gasket before reinstalling the blower. Remove any porcelain or brick panels that have been installed. Remove the exhaust port doors and vacuum out the exhaust ports, removing as much ash as possible from both sides. When clean, replace the exhaust port doors. Clean the exhaust blower and vent system at least once each year to prevent damage to the blower or blockages in the vent. Clean the exhaust tube by feeding a brush or rag through the inside of the tube and out the exhaust blower housing. Brush, then vacuum the exhaust ports, blower housing, and the blades of the exhaust blower. Carefully place the new blower mounting gasket around the opening and reinstall the blower and access panel. To access the exhaust blower on the insert, pull the insert out from the fireplace cavity and disconnect the venting from the exhaust collar. If installed as a top vent, remove the cover plate from the rear of the housing. If installed as a rear vent, remove the cover plate from the top of the housing. Vacuum the housing back to the blower outlet. Inspect the rest of the vent system and have it cleaned as required. This should be performed by a qualified chimney sweep. After cleaning and reassembling the vent components, the joints must be resealed with RTV silicone, rated to at least 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Check the seals of the appliance to ensure they're intact. Check for air leaks around the door, glass and burn pot, and ash pan. Test the door and ash pan seal by using a piece of paper in various locations. If the paper readily slides out, it indicates a poor seal. Inspect the gasket and replace as required. Chapter 3. Troubleshooting. Troubleshooting procedures should only be performed by qualified technicians or installers. Before troubleshooting, always confirm that all components are free of ash buildup and that the appliance is unplugged from the receptacle to prevent electrical shock or damage to the components. Here's how the system works. The on-off button is pressed, which sends power to the igniter, auger, and both convection and combustion blowers. During this time, the auger activates and runs for 3 minutes while the igniter comes on and stays on until proof of fire is determined. After 15 minutes, the convection blower shuts off. If the low limit switch senses 140 degrees Fahrenheit during the first 15 minutes of operation, it allows the unit to continue to run in one of the 3 selectable operating modes: manual, auto, or thermostat. If the vacuum switch senses airflow within the exhaust system, the vacuum switch conducts electricity to the auger motor, which will intermittently cycle on and off to feed pellets into the pot. After the fire is established, we recommend turning the convection fan to a medium setting. If left in a low position, the fireplace could become too hot, and the high limit switch could eventually turn off the unit to prevent overheating. This switch must be manually reset so that the reason the appliance overheated can be determined and corrected. To turn the system off, simply press the on-off button. Once all the pellets in the burn pot have been burned and the stove has cooled down, the exhaust blower will turn off. Can't get the appliance to turn on? Well, check the power supply. Make sure it's plugged in and that the outlet has power. Can't get pellets to feed into the pot? If the exhaust blower is operating but the auger is not feeding, check the vacuum switch, vacuum tube, and exhaust blower vent system to confirm that they are not blocked. Check that the high limit switch has not been tripped. If the pellets are feeding into the burn pot but they're not lighting, check the alignment of the burner with the igniter and confirm that the igniter is glowing. Make certain the holes in the burn pot are not blocked. If the appliance has failed to start or stay lit after 15 minutes, you may need to trim or adjust the auger feed rate or the combustion fan rate. Trim the settings and then press the on-off button to begin the startup cycle again. If the fire is small and the auger feed control fails to increase the flame size, check the auger to ensure that it's not become partially blocked. Also, check the quality of the pellets, which should be hard and dry. If the pellets are soft or gummy, it indicates that they have been exposed to moisture and must be replaced. Only use dry pellets. You may need to adjust the fan trim to make sure there's enough air for the pellets you're using. If the pellets build up over the edge of the burn pot to where the flames only come from the sides, the heat level may be set too high. Try turning down the heat setting. Or the unit may be starving for air. If this does not resolve the issue, the burn pot or air intakes may need to be cleaned. For more detailed instructions on how to troubleshoot the various components of your pellet appliance, consult the troubleshooting section of your installation manual, or have a qualified service person check the system. Being familiar with your system and following a regular maintenance schedule will provide you with years of worry-free enjoyment of your pellet burning appliance. Thank you for watching.